everybody. Welcome to Hallmarkies Podcast. And today we are talking about the latest 2 episodes of Ride, the new show on Hallmark Channel. And I am film critic Grace Wagner, and Terry's here.
Hello.
And author Jennie Martz is here.
Hi, everybody.
Yay. Well, I'm really excited to talk to you about these episodes because I feel like I'm finally kind of on board with Ride. I don't know what it is about these 2 episodes, but I'm finally kind of like invested, I feel like. Do you feel the same, Terry?
Yeah.
Oh, good. What do you think, Jennie?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm totally in now.
Yeah. Oh, good. Good. All right. Well, let's dive in. Let's talk about the episode 4. It's called Estella. It's Isabel's birthday. Missy and Gus get closer when she agrees to give his niece a tour of the ranch, and Valeria tries to work her way into the ranch hand boys club via their traditional poker game. So Terry, what did you overall think of this episode?
I thought it was pretty good. There was a lot of intrigue, some mysteries answered, some new ones coming up, but I thought everybody gelled better too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so everybody's really into their characters now.
Yeah, there was a lot of good character work in this episode, and I was a little bit with Sophie. I mean, she had to walk, I think, quite a ways to get to this tree house. I mean, I was kind of amazed that she found it, that she walked all that way by herself. But yeah, she gets lost, and it was kind of fun to see her because the actress Isla Spencer is the sister of the Spencer twins that are on Heartland, and we just did a recap of Heartland, so I was like, oh, they're so a very talented family, so very good. I mean, Jennie, what did you overall think of the episode?
Of the one
Episode
before
4.
this?
Yeah, Stella.
I loved that we finally learned what was happening with Valeria, even though it took till the very, very end.
Mm-hmm.
I loved that we now have another love triangle, I think.
Yes.
With what's his name? Conrad.
Yes.
Which I think the love triangle kind of comes out a little bit more in last night's episode, but I love that we have like another love triangle. That's kind of fun.
Mm-hmm.
I always like a good story with the horse, so I liked that we were waiting on the horse and we got to see a baby horse.
That felt very Heartlandy.
Yeah.
Waiting on the horse. But yeah, I think it's really interesting to see that at the beginning I thought, okay, Cash is going to be the lead character of this show, which maybe I shouldn't have thought of because it's Hallmark and usually you're going to have a female lead. But I thought he was going to be the lead. But he really, in both of these episodes, he was definitely a minor character. And we've gotten, I think, to know him the least out of any of these characters. I feel like we know Tough better. I feel like we know Valeria, Missy, Austin, like all of these characters. So that's kind of surprising to me that that the way the show has evolved is kind of surprising for me.
No, I think he's still a main. Like, I still think he's a main character, especially now with what happened in the last night. I think we're gonna see a lot of. I think we're gonna see a lot more turmoil happening.
So we have everybody's kind of concerned about Isabel in this episode. She is not gotten any sleep for a couple of days, they say at the beginning, because her horse Goldie is foaling and she wants to be there. It's also her birthday, and there's also this. I guess that's the next one. It's the harvest dinner, but there's they're having this dinner on site, and I think it was nice, some nice moments for Isabel and sort of moments to bond with each of her children was sweet. What do you think of that, Terry?
I thought it was nice. She looked pretty good for somebody who hadn't slept for a couple of days, though.
Yeah, true. So then we have this poker game, which was interesting in a Hallmark show. They have had poker a few times on When Calls the Heart, so it's not like unheard of. But it it's interesting when you see stuff like that. And it turns out Valeria is really good at poker.
Yeah, who knew?
Yeah.
I loved when she just shuffled the cards out. We knew she was going to be good.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how obviously there's some people who are professionals so that you can become good at poker, but like it's also a game of luck. So I'm not sure how people become like good at it, because you just got to get a good hand, but I guess you got to know when to fold them, as the song says. So Tough gives her the sleepy night tea for her birthday. And so we had some nice scenes with Tough and Isabel, and also Tough with Valeria. And I really like the growth of his character. Y'all also have Julian there in the poker night, so that's fun.
Yeah, and I like that Julian is already kind of telling him like, all right, give her a break. And,
Yeah. He seems like a good match.
he seems like a good guy.
Yeah. So then Gus takes Sophie out, and Missy had told her about the cabin and the treehouse, and goes out for the riding lessons. And as they're talking, Gus and Missy, they lose Sophie. And I mean, that's always like every parent's nightmare, and you lose a child.
Yep.
Terrible. And then here. And so we also find out some back history about Valeria. We find out that she played poker in Utah and siphoned gas from the people's car, and that she has kind of a mixed past with all of that. And we find out later that she was in debt to Tucker Clark, and that's why she when Tough challenges her, that's why she stayed away, was to try to avoid the debt and pay off the debt.
Do you believe that though?
No, not at all.
Because I didn't either.
Mm-hmm.
Ho, ho, ho. We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's the Hallmarkies Patreon.
Do you love Hallmarkies podcast, especially at Christmas?
Do you enjoy the holiday previews, recaps, interviews, and bonus episodes?
If the answer is yes, please consider supporting the Hallmarkies Patreon. We need your help to do what we do both during the Christmas season and all year round.
But not only do you help a podcast led by strong, independent women by becoming a Patreon, you get to become a part of the Hallmarkies family.
Starting at only $2 a month as a patron, you will have access to our Facebook Patreon group where we talk about the movies, shows, and more all year.
We also have many monthly patron watch-alongs with guests like Lacey Chabert, Natalie Hall, Paul Campbell, Mary Lou Henner, and more, giving their behind-the-scenes details of their films.
As a patron, you also have the chance to provide input into the podcast and even join us at different tiers.
So this Christmas season, spread some cheer to the Hallmarkies Patreon and become a member today. You won't regret it.
Go to patreon.com/Hallmarkies to learn more.
That's patreon.com/Hallmarkies.
Because
I just think that was a cover.
Yeah. And in the beginning, remember, they were like, when Austin was like, I need you to do this. You're the only one who can do it. Well, how is that? Maybe Austin was the one that had gambling debts and Valeria is covering.
I hadn't thought of that, but that could definitely be.
That might have been Austin's story, that he was in all the debt and that Valeria was the only one.
Oh, and then we see in the next episode, there's this relationship with this woman. Like, what if she's also involved in the debt in some way? Like, it's not an affair, it's actually like some kind of game.
And I didn't quite understand how, like, it didn't make sense that Valeria, she had this gambling debt, whatever, but then we see the next scene that she's from this totally wealthy family. So in the beginning, it made it seem like Valeria was this foster kid that just was living with them. And now we see that she came from this obviously very wealthy family. She had a maid that took her up to her mom. So doesn't she have money somewhere?
Yeah, I mean, so we find out that we see she has one Texas ID that she doesn't want to burn, and then we see a scene where Miss Stella, that's the name of the episode, and her mom is dying, and she says, "I love you, mommy," and so there's something going on with that. It's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we also see, this was just the episode for mothers, because we also see Missy's mom, and she runs into her mom first outside of the bakery when she's getting the cake, and the mom heard her on the radio, and she's like, "What are you still doing there?" And she's upset with Missy for still staying around the ranch and not trick riding, being in pageants. I think she wants her to be doing pageants, but she's married. She's been married. She can't do pageants.
Well, that was not clearly defined, but she just didn't want her to be beholden to that family.
Mm-hmm.
But she was, angry, but her husband did die,
Yeah.
She's not going to say goodbye to that family because of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she is trying to do some of the trick riding and the other stuff with the whole deal with Frontier and everything. And so she is trying to make a name for herself, like going on the radio and other things like that. Well, she invites her mom to come to the birthday party. She doesn't think her mom will come. And then she shows up, and then she says to her mom, "You can't love 99% of me. You have to love all of me."
Aww.
Did you feel at all that Valeria was flirting at all with Cash?
Oh, for sure.
Yes.
Yeah, I felt that too.
Totally.
So I was like, oh, because as I've said before, when they started out with like 2 near kisses in the pilot between Missy and Cash, I was like, okay, this is going to be the love story, for the whole show. And so now I'm kind of surprised that we haven't really had anything like that for a while, and now we're getting this kind of flirty scene.
Yeah, I think I thought that was kind of strange too. I was like, he's supposed to be carrying such a torch for Missy, and now all of a sudden he's all flirty. But they did have that whole conversation about, I'm just looking for fun and I'm not looking for anything serious, and that felt like a lot of foreshadowing of, well, do we want to just get together?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, that would be, considering the ramifications, I don't feel like you could really just have fun with like somebody who's basically a surrogate family member.
Yeah.
I think you'd have to go in all the way if you were gonna do something like that. It would be too awkward.
Yeah.
There's got to be a struggle.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But she does burn the IDs in the end. And then we end off her saying, "I love you, mommy." So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with that. So 1 to 10, Terry, what would you give this episode?
A solid 7.
Okay. What do you think, Jenny?
I liked the birthday party and all of that, and I liked that we found some stuff, so I'll give it an 8.
Mm-hmm. And I'm always happy when I see James Tupper on anything. I love him. I've been a big fan of his since Men in Trees, which was such an underrated show, and I absolutely loved it. R.I.P. Anne Heche. But he was on that show, and he was so good. I just love that show. I think one of the most underrated Hallmark mysteries is the now I can't think of the name, but the
Emma Fielding.
Yes, Emma Fielding. I love that. Like I
Bonkers. I
prefer,
loved it.
I've said this before, but I prefer the mysteries that lean a little bit more into the camp that aren't trying to be like gritty and realistic. And
Yeah.
that was one that totally leaned into the camp, was very silly, and I enjoyed it. But anyway. So
Yeah, I liked that Isabel had like her birthday and a new love interest. So that
Mhm.
bumped this episode up for me.
yeah,
Yep.
it did. And I thought for the most part, everything with Sophie was well done. And Gus asks Missy out. And
Oh
so,
yeah, we didn't even talk about that.
yeah, that was good. And she agrees.
so
She actually accepts.
Yeah.
So
Good for her.
Yes, all
Yeah.
the way.
if people haven't listened to our interview with Tyler, they should definitely do it because he was really fun and just as charming as you'd hope.
Hey, this is David from the Piecing It Together podcast, a podcast about movies and the movies that inspire them. For over 4 years each week, a guest and I take a look at a new movie through the lens of what other movies we think were either an influence or connect in some other way. It's a fun, unique way to discuss films that leads to a great list of other movies to check out that either explore the same themes and ideas or maybe utilize similar filmmaking techniques. Including special episodes in our side series that twist the format, we've done over 200 episodes, so there's bound to be one on a film you've been thinking about and want to dig deeper into. So check us out on all the major podcasting apps and at piecingpod.com.
Good place, guys. All right. Well, let's talk about episode 5, When It Rains. And this is Missy brings Cash as her +1 to the Frontier barbecue. But Cash feels out of place when his biggest competition, Hudson Cooper, shows up too. So this one had a lot of intrigue that it brought in. The whole thing with this event where a lot of flashbacks going on with Austin being at this event previously, and then also this woman and that was with Austin, and so Missy starts to think that maybe he was having an affair or something like that. You also have everything with this tractor that needs to be repaired, and Valeria and Gus are just amazing at repairing tractors. I don't know. I thought this was a really good episode. You have a lot going on. You've got stuff with Isabel. You've got her having to confront the past, kind of a thing. Terry, what do you think overall of this one?
I really liked it. I liked everything that was going on at the ranch and the party. There was a lot more tension in certain scenes. And these are the cleanest looking farmhands ever. They don't sweat. They don't get dirty. They're always magnificently presented. So kudos.
Now Gus had, some oil.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
I mean, that. For most of it, they were like at a party and stuff, so I was fine with that. But yeah, when they're repairing stuff and things, that they probably would have a little bit more dirt. But it's the annual harvest dinner, and I did forget to say in the last episode, it starts out with Valeria and Cash like driving crazy.
Oh, that poor lawn.
I know. I would be mad,
poor
like
grass.
destroying my lawn.
Oh, that poor grass. I was like, oh.
It was a field. They were doing it in a field. So I thought, well, is this messing up their crops?
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
It looked like grass though, even though it was like out in their acreage. But still, sure. I wouldn't think you'd want to have do that to your land.
That bothered me a little bit, and it bothered me that they were like so stressed about the harvest and getting the hay in and trying to get this tractor going, but yet they were making coleslaw and they were and then they would just kind of mosey around. It's like, just get out there and start grabbing hay.
I mean, I guess walking back and forth.
In fairness, you gotta eat. Like, you gotta feed people. But what did she say that like coleslaw is the like
cheap cabbage?
Cheap cabbage or something like that. Yeah. I mean, what would be your go-to barbecue order? What would you want to get, Jenny? What would you order?
Oh, I love barbecue. I'm a big
Mhm.
barbecue girl. So ribs I'm always into baby back ribs.
Uh-huh.
I also love a good pulled pork sandwich.
Yeah, that's good. What about you, Terry? What would you order?
Well, I got to go traditional, like my Portuguese roots. So chicken, pork, stuff like that.
Yeah. I would probably get pulled pork. Yeah, probably, or brisket, maybe. Depends on if it looks fatty. I don't like that, but
Yeah.
but yeah, probably pulled pork would be my top pick. But I love cornbread, potato salad. That's probably my favorite, more than coleslaw. I probably would pick
Ugh,
I think
potato
coleslaw is
salad.
gross. I
it
think like
is. Ugh, it's too slimy.
I do
like
this weird thing with my pulled pork sandwiches. I don't want the barbecue sauce on it. I want plain pulled pork, and then I do a barbecue sauce and mayonnaise next to each other and dip it.
Oh, dip it. See, I actually like coleslaw on the pork sandwich more than just plain coleslaw. I like it. It's kind of crispy and the texture and stuff. But yeah, I would prefer potato salad over coleslaw any day.
Yeah.
Same.
Or even a baked potato. That's yummy. Corn. I love corn. I'm getting hungry. Yeah, this harvest dinner, big deal. And then what was your take, Terry, of all of this flashbacks with Austin and this woman and everything? What are you thinking they're leading to?
Well, I'm thinking that they are alluding to him being a cheater, but I don't think it's going that way. I think it might just be perhaps some bad business negotiations. She seemed really hung up on him, so maybe something more on her end. But I almost think like they're not going to go the affair route.
Yeah.
I just don't think they're going to do that.
Well, this woman says, I can't imagine getting over someone like Austin and then just moving on. You don't want to know the backstory.
Oh yeah, she has it bad. She has it bad for him.
Yeah.
I mean, I agree with you. I think that it's unlikely that they're gonna, especially on a Hallmark show, they're gonna end this on Austin had an affair from his wife. I think there's something to do with the gambling and Valeria, and you wouldn't think that he would have fixed the results, but it would make sense in a way because I don't know how you do that in something as unpredictable as bull riding, but it would have maybe been something to cause him to be off his game if he was, if there was some kind of fixed results. So that's what I kind of wondered, if maybe there was some kind of bet that way.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be something to do with the ranch still, that he was going to, they were going to take it out on the ranch. They were going to take it out on his mom.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think, and I agree with Terry. I think they're just teasing us, and that's a red herring.
Yeah.
He was involved with this girl, but I don't think that's what it's going to be either.
Yeah. So then, and that would be why she would say you don't want to know, because if it was something that was sort of scandalous in the sense of like fixing a result or something like that would look bad on Austin. So you wouldn't want to know. Because if it was just like regular betting, I would think that it wouldn't be that like it's legal, like so that's why I kind of wondered. And then we have Hank back, and this is that love triangle, like you were saying. Everybody wants to be with Isabel. and Hank, he wants to build a rodeo stadium. And this was a dream of Dusty, Isabel's husband. He wanted to do the stadium, but Isabel is anxious about that, doesn't want to do it. Would you say, Jennie, that you're team Hank or team Cody at this point?
Oh, I'm team Cody. At first I thought it was so cute that with Hank, and he obviously kind of has a crush on her, but then old
Mhm.
Cody came in and he's just,
James
I have
Tupper.
the cowboy, and great cowboys. I gotta cheer for the cowboy, and I just feel like he's kind of seems so shy with her. And I have to say that this show got me a little bit. I cried. I'm a big crier, so it doesn't take much for me to cry. But when they were talking, and maybe you're going to get to this in a minute, but
Mhm.
when Cody was talking to her and said that she needed to let Dusty and Austin work for the ranch and continue to do something nice for her and help
Mhm.
her out, even though they were gone, by doing the museum. Oh, that I
Yeah.
cried.
Yeah, it was a nice moment, and then she agrees to partner with Hank. And Terry, which one are you? Are you team Hank or team Cody?
I got to be Team Cody here. Though Hank made some valid points, but
Yeah,
I'm
he
Team
did.
Cody.
Yeah, I have to agree. I mean, like I said, I love James Tupper so much.
Yeah.
And if people missed Terry Hatcher's Hallmark movie last fall, Midlife Crisis, he was in that, and that was, I
So
thought, a
much
really good
fun.
one. I loved
Yeah,
that
it
one.
was.
Underrated for the year. It was
Totally.
one of my favorites. And let's see what else. Let me look at my notes. Sorry. Okay, so yeah, I thought all of the scenes with them with the hay were all well done. It built up the tension. And I guess like maybe the hay bales can handle like a little bit of rain, but they can't handle like huge rain.
Yeah.
So they had to go out and get them all or tarp them, one or the other, it seemed like.
Yeah.
So that I thought that was all very well done.
Yeah.
Yeah. You also get this scene between Tough and Valeria, where he says, "When I needed you the most, you weren't there." So
Yeah. Did you feel like Tough needed to like apologize for questioning Val on any of this? Because I thought he had a point in bringing up where she'd been and just ghosting everybody. I don't know if she needed a full-blown apology.
yeah, no, I agree. And she says, "I tend to keep things buried, and I've been running ever since my mom died." And then this is one thing true of all families is we hurt each other. So
Yeah.
yeah, there
I
was
think the apology was more about the way he did it, that he did
Mhm.
it in front of
Sure,
everybody,
yeah.
that he come to
Yeah.
her.
We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's the Hallmarkies merch store.
Are you looking for that perfect gift for the postable, hardy, or Hallmarky in your life?
What about getting that t-shirt or hoodie that will help you stand out at your next holiday party?
Now is the time to check out the Hallmarkies merch store.
Full of festive designs by artists like Jessica Miller, Carrie from Hallmark Comics, and more.
You can even have more than just shirts, but totes, cell phone cases, notebooks, mugs, and more.
And it isn't just Hallmark. We have designs for Anna Green Gables, Man from Snowy River, The Nanny, and more.
Every purchase at the merch store goes to help support the podcast and allows us to make the great content you know and love.
There are frequent sales, so go to tpublic.com/stores/hallmarkies or see the link in the description.
That's tpublic.com/stores/hallmarkies.
That he just accused her in front of everybody and ruined the birthday party, and I think
Yeah,
that was more about what the apology was about than
Yeah.
it's
which
true.
was
She says apologies unspoken keep things broken, is what
Yeah.
Isabel
Oh, yeah.
says.
cute.
Yeah, that was a good little limerick or whatever. Yeah. And then we have, there's the whole barbecue in the barn in the rain. That was a nice set piece. We get more banter between Gus and Missy. I mean, they have spent practically as much time with Gus and Missy as they did with Missy and Cash, which is interesting, I feel like. And you have Cash picking a fight with Gus, and then they fight outside, and Valeria breaks it up. So that was pretty fun. I like that.
He wasn't even there.
Yeah, but they were fighting over her. Were
Yeah,
they?
but didn't you think that was funny? They were fighting over her and she wasn't even there. Like,
True.
really
That's
ran
true.
back to the house really fast.
Yeah, that's true.
I wrote in my notes that a lot of man feelings were going on around that time.
Yeah.
Pent up frustration.
And then we have Cash saying, "I'm never going to be enough. You're always going to be comparing me to Austin."
He's so full of drama.
Yeah. I mean, I have to say that's one thing my parents were very good at is, we would always want them to kind of compare us, and we'd kind of tease them and be like, "Oh, I really am the favorite, right?" And my parents were good about appreciating our individual, unique personalities and kind of trying to support that as best we can, because all 6 of us are so different. We're not one of those families that kind of has a mold. There's just
Yeah.
certain families where it's like, okay, you're all really similar and that's great, but not my family. We have a huge age gap in my family. There's kind of we joke that you burn the first batch. So there's 3 of us older and younger, but but yeah, we're all really different, and I think we're pretty good about honoring those differences and not like pitting us against each other in any way. So, but it can get messy, especially when you have family businesses, that, and when they're all competing in the same business. Like, at least in my family, we're all interested in different things. We're all different. So there was no like real competition. So I don't know. How do you feel about that, Jennie, as a mom?
Well, as a person, I'm a middle child, and so
Ah,
I know all about, my the older ones who got to do everything they wanted, and the younger ones that are still and never getting any attention by
it's the
the
reverse. The younger
middle
ones get to do
child.
whatever they want.
So I have very typical middle child things, but I only had I had 2 sons, so I didn't have a middle child
Okay.
with my kids. But my 2 sons, sometimes it would just amaze me that we raised them in the same household. They're only a couple years apart,
Uh-huh.
same parents, everything, and yet they are totally, totally different. Their personalities are very different. So
Yeah. Yeah. It's really interesting how that happens. So then we have Valeria and Cash kind of making up and they hug. And then we have this very dramatic scene at the end where Missy is very upset. She goes and confronts the bull that knocked off Austin. She said, "Did you cheat on me? I can't ask him because of you and your stupid sport."
yeah, so that kind of at first I was like, surely that's not the exact bull. I don't think that's the exact bull. Because they
Okay.
bring that exact bull that killed this Austin, they wouldn't bring that exact bull back to their ranch. I think she was just saying the sport in general. Because at first when she said that, I was like, oh my gosh, they brought the exact bull. But I don't think they did. I think she was saying like you in general to bull riding.
That makes sense. Yeah. It was a very dramatic scene. I mean, she did a good job with that scene.
Yeah,
But
and I liked that Isabel came out and was listening and
yeah.
Well, I'm glad
Because-
she finally showed some emotion.
Yeah.
She seemed so indifferent to her husband.
Yeah, because it seemed like to me, her having to coach Cash would be very difficult and bring back lots of memories, especially if her and Cash have this kind of like will they, won't they relationship. And so it's good to see that it finally kind of boiled over, especially after she saw this woman at the party.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. So there we go. Lots of drama. And that's what I like to see. I love the melodrama. I think it's fun. So I would give this one a pretty high score. I thought it was well done. It was well shot. All the hay baling was well done and it built up tension and all of that. And we got to see Gus and Valeria fix that old tractor, and that was kind of I enjoyed that. So I would give this one a pretty high score, I think. like an 8.5 or a 9, I think, for the show. I think it's one of the better episodes so far. What do you think, Jenny?
Yeah, I agree. I'd give it a 9 too. It was a fun show. I enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm. What do you think, Tara?
I'd give it an 8.5. I thought it was one of the better episodes
Yeah, agreed.
put together from start to finish.
All right. Well, let us know if you're listening what you think of these 2 episodes. We would love to hear your thoughts in the comment section or on Twitter. Make sure you check out our interview with Tyler, who plays Gus. We'll put a link down in the description. We'd love to hear your thoughts on that as well. And Terry, where can people find you?
Well, I'm on Twitter at Flurry Heaven.
Great.
And, posting nonsense. So.
And Jenny, what about you?
You can find me on Facebook at Jenny Marks Books, or on Twitter at Jenny Marks Writer, or on Instagram. Oh, I also wanted to make sure that I told you guys that Hallmark is doing kind of a special little thing with Hallmark books. So because Ride is a Western romance show and a cowboy show, they're putting all their Western romance books. I think there's 4 or 5 of them, and it does include mine, Rescuing Harmony Ranch, and Cowboy Ever After, and they're 99 cents right now through the entirety of the show. While Ride is being aired, my books, Rescuing Harmony Ranch, Cowboy Ever After, and a few other of the Western romances from Hallmark Publishing are all 99 cents, the Kindle version. So if you can't get enough cowboys while you're waiting for the next show, grab one of those books.
Well, we'll put a link down in the description for that as well. You should all definitely check it out. There's some fun ones. Yeah, Rachel's Reviews, all of our social media, iTunes, YouTube, and on Rotten Tomatoes. So check that out. Also, make sure you're following the podcast, Hallmarkies Pod, Hallmarkies Podcast, all of our social media. And if you are listening on iTunes, please leave your ratings and reviews. That really helps us a lot. And it's free and easy to do. And if you are listening on YouTube, please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. We appreciate that so much. We also have our patron group and merch store. So check that out. We've got a really good patron watch along coming up in May. We are going to have Rodrigo Massa on, and we're going to be watching Merry Texmas, which was one of my favorites. So if you haven't joined the Patreon, it's really fun. So please check it out. And thanks so much, ladies. I really appreciate it. And we'll talk to you all later. Bye, everyone.